Wow, I'm glad that race didn't end under a yellow flag. That would have been terrible. Welcome to Race Weekend Update for the 2023 Australian Formula One Grand Prix. My name is Stacey Hewen, and let's get right into it. The dildo of consequences rarely arrives lubed, and due to the insane way the FIA chose to finish this race, Sainz's 5-second penalty for causing a collision ended up costing him 8 positions. Fans are calling the penultimate lap Schrodinger's lap, as it is where both Alpine's Sargent and De Vries finished their race, and Sainz got a penalty. But the positions of the cars were not taken into account for the final restart, yet Sainz still got a penalty, even though the positions were reset and the lap was not counted, proving once again that Abu Dhabi 2021 was a systemic issue and not simply the fault of Michael Masi. All of this happening in Australia meant that Michael Masi got a trackside view of the new race director shitting the bed as he tried to follow the impossible directive to not finish a race behind the safety car. We can only hope that he will return to us at the turning of the tide as Masi the White. Max Verstappen made it pretty clear that he felt the FIA caused most of their own problems this weekend, as they could have done a rolling restart which would have been much safer than all of the standing starts. The FIA has yet to respond to Verstappen's comments, as they are currently searching for some obscure reason to fine him, since if there's one thing the FIA has made clear, it is that they are not open to criticism. Checo went from P20 to P5 today, which would be a lot more impressive if more than 12 cars finished the race, and this was a street circuit. We finally got a race where both McLarens finished in the points. All it took was half the grid not finishing. Mercedes lead driver George Russell qualified in second place but ended up retiring from the race due to a mechanical failure. Taking it in stride with kindness and humor, he once again beat Hamilton in both pace and attitude. Despite George's mechanical failure, the Mercedes did appear to be the fastest car on the grid after the Red Bull, with Hamilton's P2 finish proving that. George said this is the best race car he's ever driven, while Lewis and Toto maintain that it's an undrivable shitbox, which, at this point, I can only speculate is to protect their egos. Pierre Gasly took out Esteban Ocon on the second restart, and while Esteban did seem to be taking it quite well, it turns out he was just happy to finally have a reason to feud with his teammate. With Mick Schumacher gone, Kevin Magnussen took it upon himself to keep up the Haas tradition of single-car accidents. Haas was protesting the final race restart, but not because of where Hülkenberg would finish if the positions were kept. It was actually because they knew that their Ferrari power unit couldn't survive a single parade lap. If the positions had been kept for the final restart, Hülkenberg would have ended up with a podium due to Sainz's penalty. A time-traveling Günther Steiner was spotted talking to our timeline's Steiner, begging him to drop the protest. When asked about this later, the time traveler explained that every future in which Hülkenberg gets a podium ends in apocalypse, and he has been traveling from timeline to timeline for time immemorial, preventing disaster. Alex Albon got up into 6th place, but the spirit of Nicholas Latifi was flowing through the car as it bent itself to ensure that Williams' tradition was preserved. Alfa Romeo might have done something this weekend, but who knows and who cares? Alfa Romeo is the least engaging team to grace the F1 grid since Marussia. The most exciting thing they've done in recent memory is sell out to Audi. If they disappeared from the grid and showed back up in 2026 as Audi, I don't think that anybody would notice they were gone. For the poll of the week, I asked, who's the bigger clown show, the FIA or Ferrari? The FIA and Ferrari were duking it out today to see who was the bigger clown show. Ferrari opened with Leclerc's lap 1 DNF, and the FIA countered with a red flag for some gravel being on track, then followed up with another red flag. Sainz clapped back with causing a collision, and the FIA responded with a red flag, and right when you think the FIA is just spamming red flags, they give Sainz a 5-second penalty. While the race had already set the record for having the most red flags in F1 history when the third red flag dropped, a fourth one was caused by the Ferrari engine in the back of Nico Hülkenberg's car blowing up right after the race finished. Unfortunately for Ferrari, as this happened after the checkered flag, their inability to build a reliable engine was not taken into account for the clown show competition, and the way the FIA enforced a 5-second penalty on Sainz despite the fact they weren't actually properly restarting the race clinched them the title of biggest clown show. If you enjoy dank memes, subscribe to my Patreon where I live meme every race, posting up original memes that are not shared anywhere else on the internet. In addition, you get early access to my videos ad-free. All that because you support Fiends, where the F1 never ends.